The kids come last. I'm gonna take the big people first.
When we go to the top of the mountain, she's just a little plain person, you know, not all dressed up, not all big pipe in a certain way and all of that sort of stuff. It's just us and nature and the spirit world, you know.
When you look around, you only see the good things. When you smell this root, we give you power and strength to ward all evil away from your heart and soul. When you speak, you only speak the right thing. So help me, Great Spirit. Kom ilaya wetlitas nastanon hanchatu pakatosani harasen nekem hadi.
Florence Jones is the top spiritual doctor of the Winnemem Wintu of Northern California. Their ancestral home is the McCloud River watershed, south of Mount Shasta. Healing ceremonies have been conducted here for 1,000 years. Now Florence Jones is handing them down to her great niece. For 15 years, they have fought a proposed ski resort on Mount Shasta and resisted New Age newcomers who congregate at their sacred site.
This whole area is part of that religion. You know, you can't have a religion without the land. It's not, you know, something that you read in a book, but it's the way you walk on the land and the way you treat your relatives, all of the relatives.
The relatives include a whole landscape animated with spirits, and the animals, the plants, the mountain itself, and the Wintu's sacred spring.
It's always bubbling. And that's sand coming up like that. And if anybody go around there, if they greet them, then the bubbles go right to you. You're accepted. The same old way. Over 80 years ago. It's still that way. Probably always will be that way.
When Florence Jones was born, Wintu shamans determined that she was a special baby who would become a healer. She made her first visit to the spring at Panther Meadows, high on Mount Shasta, in 1908.
Listen, Gramps. 1951.
At the time of first contact with non-Indians, there were 14,000 Wintu. By 1910, there were only 395. Florence Jones was one of them.
But your whole family had to move out, right?
Everybody had to move out, both from Pitt River and McCloud River.
Like most Northern California Indians, the Wintu have no reservation. During the gold rush, they quickly lost their lands to miners and settlers. The government paid bounty hunters to kill Indians, $5 a head. The population was decimated. 150 years later, the United States still does not recognize the Wintu as a tribe. Their religion has survived government policies of extermination and assimilation.
The process of training the doctors starts, you know, from birth and extends to a time where they are to visit all the sacred places. And all along the river, she had to go, and at 10 years old, she had to go there alone to travel that whole length of the river. Right after that, she was captured when they came in to hunt for kids and was taken. And the parents had no right to stop it, no rights to say, you know, she's in training. You can't take her, she's our next doctor. In the boarding school, they baptized her, and they started trying to introduce the church into the lives of these kids. They didn't let you speak your language. They marched you around all the time. If they weren't tending to you, they let you march in circles just to keep you moving.
Mount Shasta up there.
Her family all stayed on the McCloud River, even after the killings and smallpox and whatever else that came in that kind of wiped out the population, until the dam came in. All the Indians were moved out of the McCloud River. There are a lot of sacred places under the lake now. Graham, what do you think will happen if they build that ski resort and that spring is ruined? What will happen to the people, the Wintu people? Like for ceremony and for going on.
That's when we have to pray a little bit harder. Maybe someday they'll see the light and see the good and the beautiful world and nature. They might wake up and see all that. Somebody's got to do that, somewhere. We just all can't just be dumb and die.
That land is what makes us distinctively Winnemem. And without it, how are we going to be distinctively Winnemem? You know, that's a right that we have that should be acknowledged so that the young people don't have to keep fighting for that. You know, when I think of the people having to leave the river and that Graham's held on to those teachings and returned to the river all the time, even though she had to move off of the river, she knew enough that she had to go back all the time, that she had that in her veins, she had that in her blood, in her mind, in her heart, that she had to go there. And I feel like her memories had the entire river with her. And my memories only have from Hertz Bay up. And the memories of these kids may only have that now, and then even less if they raise the dam. It's kind of like when you walk into a room and you can kind of like feel like the hairs on your neck are standing up because for some reason, you know, you have a little jolt of fear and you're not quite sure why. And maybe you turn around and there might be a dog ready to growl at you, or there might be nothing. But still you had that reaction to something. And that's what you kind of go by. But in addition to that, you have these sacred places. And these sacred places are the knowing. That's where the energy is. That's why you go there, so that you can know something. But I couldn't just sit here and say, you know, what Mount Shasta thinks or what Puberty Rock thinks unless I'm there in that energy, in their knowledge, to have those things happen. But that's why we have all these traditions too, like the fire, the songs, the medicines. They all have more knowledge. You know, we're just little people. We're not in control of any of that. You know, if somebody's going to get healed and they come in and say, well, you need to use these medicines, then you use those medicines. It's not like you go into your shelf and say, okay, I think maybe I'll give them this pill and I'm going to give them this. But it's told to you. You know, and I was worried about that when Grams and I was talking before she left and before I was actually doing those kinds of things on my own, because I always kind of relied on her when I helped her. I wasn't doing it myself. It's kind of like puberty ceremony. The girls help their mom, but they're not really doing it on their own. And now mom's gone, and you have to do it on your own. You know, and that's how I felt with Grams, is that I never did those things before. And so I was asking her, it's like, well, how will I know, you know, how to help somebody? Like, there's so many medicines out here. How would I know which ones to give them? And she said, don't worry about that, they'll tell you. So it's like, okay, I hope they're going to speak loud and clear. So I wouldn't want to give somebody the wrong medicine. But, you know, that's kind of how it goes. It's like, I don't think there's a certification that you can get or anything that says, well, now you know, because we know everything and now I know you know as much as I do. But like Grams, you know, at 90 years old, she was saying, well, I don't know everything. I'm still learning because the spirit beings are the teachers. And we could never know as much as they know.